On the Ballgame, NorthJerseySports.com's original multimedia series talking all things basketball across North Jersey. This is our annual Bergen County Jamboree. Well, let me be more specific. This is our annual 62nd annual Oscar F. Thompson Memorial Bergen County Jamboree preview show. I am Corey Doviak, being joined by really an illustrious panel of North Jersey basketball insiders, starting with the man that the show is named after. He is Richie Ballgame Barton. What's up, Richie B?
No, not much. I mean, this is just the best time of the year, regardless of sport. I mean, Jambo is just, it's always fun. It's always exciting. You always can watch it. You never know what's going to happen.
Did you just say regardless of sport?
I'm saying it's my favorite time of the year, regardless of what season it is, sports-wise, yes.
Yes, okay. Because regardless of sport, it's not a great time right now for, baseball. You know? It's a little boring. And listen, the other co-host on this show tonight, and we're going to get a couple of coaches on shortly. I don't want to commit to who we're going to have on because there are games being played as we tape this on Thursday night. But one coach who will be on for the duration, a man who last led his prestigious program into the Jambo in 2004, and a man who we haven't talked to since he hasn't made it the last couple of years. He is the head Scarlet, Ridgefield Park head coach Chris Gaskin. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm going to stop you right there, though. You said 2004. At least give us a little credit.
Sorry.
2014.
I was so excited to get my joke out that I fumbled on my line there. But it's nice to have you back here. You know, you were an early adopter of the ball game on NorthJerseySports.com. I do recall at one point in the probably late 2000s where you were in a snowbank and you didn't care. You stuck it out, you picked up the phone, and you talked to us before calling AAA, and your absence has been noticed around here.
Well, listen, as your buddy over there at the ball game, used to break chops all the time because of our affinity for one another. I kind of backed away, and let's be honest, there were some coaches out there who thought I was getting too much press, so backed away for the benefit of the ball game. But I'm certainly very happy to be back, and without a doubt, as much as I like you, Corey, it's a pleasure to speak to our good friend, Mr. Barton. I'm happy to hear that he's hanging in there and back in the scene, and definitely looking forward to what goes on tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Richie Ballgame. But he swears he's going to be at Jambo games this weekend, too, so things are looking good for our illustrious.
Gaskin makes the Jambo, Richie B shows up. That's how I'm doing.
We're going to lock the door in Bergenfield for the 12 o'clock game. You're not getting in.
Don't worry, I'll be at the game before you. Then I'll lock in the tent.
Yeah, it takes him a while. It takes him a while to get in the gym nowadays. He's going to be there at 5:30 a.m. All right, so let's talk about this Jambo here. Listen, as Richie B so eloquently said, this is a great time of the year. My affinity for this tournament is well known. I grew up watching it. I've spent the last 20 years covering it. So, I'm sitting there last night grumbling about the fact that the brackets weren't out until, I don't even know what, 11:30 or something like that. It ruined our plans to do the show last night. And then I was just turning off the light to head up to the old bedroom here, that the cot that I keep upstairs at the world headquarters of NorthJerseySports.com. That email came in with the bracket, and I was all excited. I pumped it out there, got it on Twitter, got it up on the website, everywhere else, and the juices started flowing for this one. So, Chris, let me ask you this. You're, as a coach and as a Bergen County basketball historian, you've been around this game for a long time too, as Richie and I have. The tournament has changed over the years. It's now not as an exclusive an event as it used to be. And I'm not passing judgment. It is what it is. Some people will like it, some people won't. I don't really... Well, I have an opinion on it, but it really doesn't matter because it is what it is, and it's changed a little bit. They got 25 teams in the Jambo last year, which would have been unheard of. Your thoughts on the changing landscape of Bergen County high school basketball?
Well, I'm going to agree with you. I was claimed to be one of the classic underachievers as a player, but growing up, I loved what the Jamboree stood for, and I try to tell my guys all the time about the fact that it used to just be 16 teams, and in some leagues it didn't matter if you were 9-4 or 10-5, and a team that was perceived to play in a tougher league was 500. They were going to get in over you, and there was nothing that could be said and done about it. When they expanded to the 650 rule, I think it opened up an opportunity for some other teams. I will openly admit that, like, within the Coaches Association, my title is the liaison, so I have to basically support and make sure that each of the teams are properly represented when it comes to this process, and other things are entailed with that, attending different meetings and doing the all-county selections and all those introductions. So, over the years, with doing this now for 25 years, I've gotten myself involved with some things, and I've certainly learned a lot. And it definitely has changed. The landscape of the Jamboree has changed, and the landscape of Bergen County basketball has changed. And back when we were growing up, the parochials were very good, but it was kids from Bergen County, or maybe a few from out of the county playing. Now you have kids from all over, and the AAU concept now has taken over, where there's some kids who prioritize that over high school. So you really don't know where the game is going, because it is an ever-changing environment. And the Jamboree is something that I've always tried to preach to my guys and anybody that I speak to, that it's a very prestigious, long-running tournament, but there's no doubt that it's changing, and who knows what the future of it holds. But for now, I believe that, I think it's very special that you have guys running it who are no longer active coaches, who are former coaches, former athletic directors, who do put in a tremendous amount of time scouting all the teams and doing what they feel is best to keep the integrity of this long-standing, successful tournament intact.
That's well said. Richie B, now you are less diplomatic than either Mr. Gaskin or myself. What are your thoughts?
How honest do you want me to be?
As honest as you want.
Honestly, I can't say that I love it. I think the allure of the Jambo, going back to the 90s and even the early 2000s, were, was the exclusivity of it. Like, you would have a team that's real good and 10-2 or 10-3 and not get in. And, I just like that the 16 teams that went in, pretty much everyone had a shot to win it. I mean, you knew who the favorites were, but, those lower-seeded teams in the bracket at that time, they had just as good a chance as anybody.
Those are the days of Hackensack High School being
just
sold out all day and not being able to get in the gym. It was real special. I agree.
Paramus High School too. I mean, that's where I picked up the trail, and I've told this story. I think every year when we do the Jambo preview show, I tell the story of how I was the last guy left out of the gym at Paramus. It was me and a buddy, and we went to the Jambo at Paramus. The last 2 tickets were sold right before we got there, and we spent the entire day watching games through the slits. You know, they had those long, skinny windows on the gym doors, and I had my nose pressed against it for 3 hours watching it. So, yeah, all day.
My biggest recollection was the Teaneck Pagoda, Haino Soto, Pat Sullivan, gym packed at Hackensack High School to the gills, and you look across the gym, and there's Dean Smith, there's PJ Carlissimo, there's Louis Carnesecca. They're all sitting front row, and I'm like, wow, it was just an amazing, amazing experience.
I killed Henyo Soto in the, I forget the name of the church in Teaneck, in an AAU game one time. He went up
St. Anastasia's.
Yes, exactly.
St. Anastasia's, coming from a former St. John's Bergenfield guy here.
Well, there you go. I once played in a game against him there and fouled him horribly when he tried to go to the basket. Not happening on me. But anyway, that's the historical perspective. So the Jambo has changed. We got 25 teams in it this year. Yours happens to be one of them, Chris. The Ridgefield Park Scarlets are number 19. They're going to play Tenafly in the opening round in a noon tip-off at Bergenfield High School, your alma mater. And in years past, what the era that we're talking about, you would not have made it. But in the current climate, you're in. And now, you got to be talking to your kids like, hey, we're in. Let's see what we can do with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're 9-5, and I get, look, we had our biggest win for sure was over Riverdale, who's a very good team. Beating them by 20, I think, helped us tremendously. Our win over Bergenfield helped us even more after they went out and they beat Ridgewood and Westwood the following games. I totally agree with people who say, wait, Ridgefield Park lost by 38 the night before the seedings. We certainly didn't help ourselves there. Early in the season, got off to an 0-3 start. And I think if you look at the big picture, the fact that we were 9-2 over the last 11 games, regardless of, what people might think of, because everybody's got an opinion, but regardless of what everybody might think of, our schedule at that time, when you go 9-2 over an 11-game span and you really turn your season around, I think that it's something that should be considered, and thankfully it was. And that's kind of what I'm selling on my guys, too. I tell them all the time, one thing you can count on me for is to be very honest with you. So look, there's probably a lot of people out there who are probably questioning a lot of what we've been doing lately, and you need to use that as your motivation, one way or another. Understand that you're playing a very good team, and you're in a tournament that there's so many other people who've come through this school and many other schools who never had the opportunity. And again, that's me with the historical side. How I continue to see the Jamboree as prestigious. As Richie B said, not everybody looks at it that way, but I do. And being a Bergen County guy through and through, and really relishing the opportunity to be part of it, I want the kids on my team to feel the same way.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Hey, you don't have to make any excuses. The committee put you in, and you're going to go play. So, and there are stages. Well, let's. I don't even know how I want to do this. We could talk specific games, which I definitely want to get into, because there are some interesting first-round matchups. And then, as we'll follow along here in subsequent shows over the next couple of weeks, there are some definitely interesting round of 16 matchups and beyond. But also the fact that there are some good stories here in the first round. And the Jambo is always broken down into different segments. You got your teams that, to make it, to be included in the Bergen County Jamboree makes their season. That they'll go on their 25th anniversary. They'll be introduced as the 25th reunion. They'll be introduced as the team that made the Bergen County Jamboree, and some of these smaller schools. Then you have the middle of the pack schools, with the big North type schools. You're in there too. You get a win there, and you get into the main draw, the round of 16. That's something to hang your hat on. And then you have the other teams where, get into the Rothman, and then those that can actually go on and win it. How many teams, Richie B, in this year's Bergen County Jamboree have a legitimate chance to win it?
Five.
5 is the number. Name them.
I would say the top 5 seats: Bergen Catholic, Bosco, Hackensack, Teaneck, Ramapo. Cresco at 6. They're having a great season. So it doesn't get better than not losing.
Right.
And I think they're going to be a real problem for teams. How they stack up depth-wise with a Hackensack or a Bosco, shall the seeds hold true? I just think having to get through potentially Hackensack, Bosco, and then say Bergen Catholic to win a title, that is a tall order. But I think the top 5 seeds will have a legitimate shot to win.
I think I agree with that. And I will say this. I was in contact with a person, I don't even know how to properly cloak their identity. So all I'll say is a Cresskill person who was very upset that they were not the number 4 seed in the tournament. As the only unbeaten team in the field, and as a team that has actually gone out and played some people as best it could. It won the Cougars won the Jack Riley Holiday Tournament They played some other out-of-league games that were good. They beat some Group 3 schools. They have a pretty good resume, and I think it compares favorably to the team that made it to the Final Eight a couple years ago with Matt Flood. That, this Cresskill team certainly has an outside shot to do something. But as you said, Richie, they'd have to go through Hackensack, they'd have to go through Bosco, and they'd have to go through Bergen. And for Hackensack, Bosco, and Bergen to do it is going to be hard enough. For a Group 1 school to do it is going to be a very tall order. But I will say this, as far as depth goes, and Chris, I don't know if you've seen Cresskill at all, but this is the deepest Group 1 team that I can remember seeing. Well, I shouldn't say that, but in a long time, this is the deepest Group 1 school. When was the last time you saw a Group 1 school with 10 seniors on the roster?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with what you said before. The days of Bogota, back when we were kids, winning the Jamboree, that's in the past. I mean, I'd love to see it. That would be amazing for high school basketball, but it would be a huge task. Cresskill played in my Brian Law Classic against Tenafly, and
right.
They were very impressive. And like you said, they're just very senior laden, very very intelligent. They all understand their roles, their responsibilities. And Danny Egro is a kid I've known since he was in the 5th grade when I started working Coach Rivard's basketball camp, and he's doing a tremendous job running that program over there as well. And they definitely are a great story. But I agree with Richie 100%. That's just a murderer's row, in a sense, to have to go through as a Group 1. I mean, it would be tough enough as a Group 4 or a parochial. As a Group 1, it's very tough.
I would even go as far as to say this. If Cresskill were to beat Hackensack, Bosco, and Bergen and win the Jamboree title, it would be the best story in the history of Bergen County sports. That's how tough I think it is.
You know what? I laugh, but I don't think you're that far off the mark with that. But it's something to watch out for. All right. Let's just go through some of these other... Well, Richie, what pops out to you in the bracket? I mean, I guess that's the question we should ask.
Well, I mean, I love the first... I know you're a big round of 16 quarterfinal guy.
Yes.
But I'm a big first round guy. Because you always get these just teams that would never normally play each other. And you also get these teams that count power points wise that could really boost the team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? For instance, let's take Lodi Ramsey, for instance. I'm just picking the Ramsey's had a real good start to the season. Lodi has been quite a surprise. Carlos Pepin is just all over the place. He's emerged as an all-county caliber player, and for Lodi, this is a huge game. If they win that game and pull the upset as a 21 seed over the 12, they could potentially be the top seed in Northmore Group 2. I mean, that's how important this game is. Not just from the Jambo perspective, but also from a state tournament perspective.
Chris, did I just hear that right? The man who said that the first round should not exist at all is a big first round guy. I mean, that is a tough position for you to defend.
No, I don't like that there are a million games, but I like the wacky matchups that happen.
Right.
Yeah, I thought maybe 5 minutes ago he was saying there should only be 16 teams. But,
right.
And I agree with Carlos Pepin is a tremendous high school basketball player who certainly puts on a great show every night on the floor for that Lodi Ram program.
Yeah. You know what first round game interests me? How about number 19 Ridgefield Park against number 14 Tenafly? Now, having seen both, I apologize that it was just a half of yours, Mr. Gaskin, but I had to get my daughter to the movies. And Tenafly I've seen twice this year, and injuries, Max Wiener hasn't played all year. He was going to be a big part of it. Their kid Eric Brashadsky, who was a big part of their run to the Jambo last year, out for the season with a shoulder injury. So, you lose
he played the other night against Northern Highlands.
Okay, out until the Northern Highlands game with a shoulder injury. So getting healthier, and Jeff Kohler has done such a tremendous job of keeping them together and focused. And even on nights when they lose, when they might be outgunned, they play a distinct brand of basketball, which I'm sure is part of the challenge for your squad coming up in the opening round.
listen, you talked about those two other kids who obviously I know from playing them in the past, but the kids who are really carrying the load for them this year are very good players. The Antonio Bonilla and the kid Johnny Azale, I believe his name is.
Now it's my turn to correct you. Johnny Angbazo.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Angbazo, I'm sorry. Boy, those two kids, they're a very dynamic two-man game working together. And the most impressive thing Jeff's a great guy and has always done a great job with whatever teams, whether it's his volleyball team or obviously the girls' basketball team in the past and the boys now. And we actually laugh all the time because we got our starts coaching freshman basketball against one another. And, we were talking last night after the seeds came out. The thing that's most impressive about his team is they're always moving. I mean, he has them in constant movement at all times. They just play a really smart, intelligent, hard-nosed brand of basketball. And I think that's a credit to Coach Kohler and to the kids for buying into, what's best for their program.
Yep. Other interesting first-round games that I see here, and obviously in this type of bracket, you go right to the 16-17 game, and you have Bogota, the number 17, against Riverdale, with number 1 Bergen Catholic waiting in the wings there in the round of 16 with a first-round bye. So, for Bogota and a Riverdale, Chris, again, anything can happen, and maybe we'll see the world's biggest upset. But this is a game that I'm sure both teams are going in feeling that they can win. And if they want to making the Jambo is nice, but if they want it to be special, it's a game they got to win.
Yeah, and again, these are two somewhat different style of teams, but, two teams. And Ronnie Van's done a great job over the years, and obviously Coach Mahoney is a legend, somebody who I think everybody has the utmost respect for his career. Those kids at Bogota play so hard. They get up and down the floor. They shoot it well, and their intensity basically comes from their coach, obviously, and that's probably the best comment you can make about any coach when they say that your team emulates your passion. And Ronnie Van on the other side, his kids play really hard. Obviously, you have Captain America, David Estevez out there. That kid he's a great athlete on the high school level, and some of their other guys as well who really bought into playing very physical, hard-nosed basketball. So I think that's going to be an outstanding first-round game.
Yep. Richie B, how about another first-rounder for you?
Another first-round game for me. Okay. Rutherford Westwood.
Yep.
I think that's, Rutherford's kind of a tricky team. It looks like they're getting on a roll, and they kind of slip up, and then they, get their footing again. Westwood's been pretty solid, all year. I mean, they've been in a lot of close games. Coach Gaskin, I mean, I don't know how much you've seen of both of those teams, but tell me what you think.
I've seen them both. A classic match. I mean, look, maybe I might sound diplomatic, but again, two outstanding coaches. Those guys, John Mike Santubri.
Is there a bad coach in Bergen County?
Yeah.
That's what I'm being diplomatic. But
I was just going to say, Chris Gaskin for ambassador to Switzerland. Go ahead.
I think those guys, maybe, it's changing climate. I guess everybody criticizes coaches all the time. Yeah. Somebody needs to stand up for us. Okay. All you guys do is look in the stands. And you don't hear much positivity coming out. But on the other hand, those guys have done an amazing job with their teams. Westwood with Colin Liddy leading the way, and the big guy inside. They just set screens and get their guys open. And then I saw Rutherford play Emerson recently. Very, very impressive. Extremely athletic. They can trap, they can get up and down, they can shoot, and they're young. I think they're mostly underclassmen. So I think that's going to, again, the games at Bergen Catholic, I think all three of those are going to be well attended and very good. Not to say anything about the other ones, but when I looked at the triple headers in all three high schools that are going to be hosting, I thought those three games certainly had a lot of intrigue.
I agree 100%. You got St. Mary, New Milford is the last game. That's 13, St. Mary against number 20, New Milford. That's the 2:30 contest at Bergen Catholic. And the other one at Bergen Catholic is the 11 o'clock game. That's Bogota, Riverdale. So, yeah, it is a great slate of games and a good day of high school basketball. Old school Bergen County basketball when you look at some of those.
You talk about Creskill's depth as a Group 1. How about New Milford's size as a Group 1? They got some big boys on that team.
Yes. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, too. You know, New Milford didn't play a Christmas tournament. They've pretty much stayed to themselves. So it's going to, stay to within the NJIC, and it's going to be interesting. I don't know if they've played during the regular season. They're both NJIC teams, but I can't keep track of who's in what's league. I mean,
no, they have not. They have not.
Right. Well, that brings up another interesting point, too, and it's something that I wrote about when I wrote about your run to the Jambo here the other day. At the bottom, we were talking about it, and some of the thoughts came out that, for the NJIC, the teams not like Cresco who've gone out and, knew they had a good squad coming in and were going to go out and try to challenge themselves from the beginning. And just a postscript to that, Richie B, for your Barton's Best year-end awards, Dan Egero in the conversation for Best Dressed Coach. Gaskin, do you agree with that?
Sharp-dressed guy for sure. He's I haven't seen Eddie Renzio this year. I don't know if he's still sporting the suits, but Danny Egero is certainly following the Eddie Renzio school of thought for coaching attire.
Yes, I don't think anybody's seen Eddie Renzio this year, to be honest, up in his first year at Waldwick. But
hey, listen, don't get on Eddie Rock. That's my boy. And he was 3 houses down from my brother-in-law.
Hey, can I do Switzerland again? No, I won't go there.
I was just going to say, the show where everything must be said nicely, or else not at all, on this edition of the Jambo Preview Show on the Ballgame. But my point that I was getting to
is... I told you, Mike Dodo's not on the show tonight, all right?
I should have had him on, yes. He should be the outside analyst. And we would have had more guests tonight, and we may get 1 or 2 before this thing's over. I don't know, though, and I don't blame anybody for not being able to come on because, Wednesday night would have been the perfect night to do the show. The show ended the seeds came out so late that we weren't able to grab people. And then Thursday night's a game night. So we got guys who said they would get back to us, but if they don't, we completely understand because it's game night and they got things to do, including getting ready for their Saturday game. So, but the NJIC teams that have stayed to themselves and gotten the 650 winning percentage, most of them have gotten in through that avenue, which is why that rule was put in, so that the small schools had a chance. The big North type schools, 2 games, 3 games over 500 is going to get you in, and then if you're parochial and you're 500 or even maybe, I don't even want to say it, slightly below, you're going to get huge consideration. You're going to get in if you're 500 too. So that changes the dynamic of the tournament and adds so much more depth to this first round. And Chris, I don't know, would there be a way around it? There really couldn't if, the committee, other than the committee saying, hey, we're going backwards here and we're going to, limit the field again. Because one of the complaints about the girls basketball tournament in Bergen County is that it's basically open. Whoever wants to get in can get in. But that tournament only had 28 teams this year. Bergen County Jamboree has 25. I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but it does show you the way the separation and how high school basketball is being played really on 3 different levels in Bergen County.
Yeah, in this era where everybody gets a trophy, and I'm thankful that a lot of the people I surround myself with, my family members included, are all in the same mindset that I am, that, hey, you either win or you don't get a trophy. But, the Jamboree, as somebody... I understand, that strength of schedule for the bigger schools obviously is always going to give them the priority, and you have to give the Group 1s and the Group 2s, that opportunity to participate and be involved. So I don't, like you said, I don't think you can go backwards. I mean, maybe somewhere along the line somebody's going to come up with some suggestions that are accepted to change it a little bit. But as far as, let's be honest, being fair. It is necessary to give everybody an opportunity, and it doesn't matter, who you play. If you qualify with that 650 winning percentage, I agree that, hey, you did your job according to the bylaws of the tournament, and I think that you should be given the opportunity to participate. And you know what? For some kids, I know over the years, we've had some teams, we advanced to this Elite Eight twice, and then there were other years, we lost to a Bosco or a Joe's. And for my kids on the team, they were proud of their effort. And, they can look back and they can say, hey, listen, we played the big boys and we gave them everything we got. And I think that same thing holds for any of these Group 1s or Group 2s like myself. If you get an opportunity to play against one of the big boys, whether it's the parochials or the Hackensack or Teaneck or Ramapo or Cresskill, it's a great opportunity to compare yourselves, and then and it also helps you going forward for the states. I know the year we won the section in 2012, we played Bosco and we were down 5 with 4 minutes to play, and I really think that gave my kids so much confidence going into the rest of the season. So you hate to say it, but sometimes a loss can go a real long way towards the rest of your season as well. So I think there's a lot of positives involved with the whole setup.
Richie, did you notice that he shoehorned in that they've been to the quarterfinal round twice?
Yes, I did notice.
But it brings up the next point, which is it's such a great opportunity here, and this is one of the good things about having a big field, is that some of these players who in years past would not have been on this big stage get to step out in front of all of Bergen County now. More of them getting the opportunity. And Chris, all kidding aside, your guy D'Andre Roden now playing at Fairleigh Dickinson. I mean, he got first-team all-county honors because of the way he performed in that run you guys made. I think it was in 2013. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
so
that...
you could say, no, I'm not right. It's okay.
No, I don't know if that had everything. Yeah, I'm sorry, Corey. For the first time tonight, I'm going to disagree. I just think that, with the all-league stuff... I mean, look, D'Andre's a great kid. I mean, I love him like a family member, obviously, but I don't think it was just strictly based on the Jamboree. But I will agree with you that a lot of kids...
But if he had a poor performance in the Jamboree, he would not have gotten knockout.
Oh, that is true, and that's what I was going to say.
It certainly helps when you play well in the Jamboree.
Right, and a lot of kids get their notoriety. I will say, you talk about a Ridgefield Park kid. I'll go back to 06. We were the 10 seed. We played Ramapo, and John Tello was a relatively unknown, and we beat Ramapo. And then he made first team all county that year as a junior, and a lot of it was spurred on by the fact that he had a great game against Ramapo in the Jamboree. So I do agree with you that it certainly is an opportunity for kids to get a little exposure and for other people to get their eyes open to kids from certain programs that maybe they don't know so much about.
Oh, so wait, I was wrong and then I was right. So my perfect streak of never being wrong, I believe, is still intact here on the Ballgame. And Richie B only took 30 minutes of showtime for John Tello's name to come up.
I can't believe it took that long. I can't believe it. But this is... But to the point we were making,
it was the perfect comparison. Let it go.
in those first round games, there are players like Alex Lynn at Pascack Valley, Justin Lopez at Elmwood Park, Liddy from Westwood, Pepin from Lodi, Datica from Datica from St. Mary's. These are these are opportunities for these kids to show that not only is this team deserve to be in this tournament, but me personally, I feel I'm one of the better players in Bergen County, and now I got a chance to show what I can do against the best.
Yeah, well, you are not one of the better players in Bergen County. Those other kids you mentioned certainly are. And that was going to be my question. Let's talk about some of the kids who have this opportunity. Now, we just rattled off a bunch of them. But
I thought it was going to be, how can I shoot with one leg?
Yeah. Alex Lynn is a great one. I believe someone very close to the Pascack Valley program called this year's version of the Indians, who are the number 15 seed and will play Bergen Tech, the number 18 seed. He called them Alex and the Chipmunks, which I thought was a great line. He's been carrying a lot of the load. They lost a huge senior class with... come on, help me. Legend Dominguez,
Matt Vassell.
Yep, the older Lynn, Michael Lynn. So they lost a lot of talent from that team, and they're right back in the Jambo. It's a great opportunity.
That Bergen Tech team is dangerous.
I haven't seen them this year. Yeah,
that's going to be a super game. They have some players.
Yep. I also saw Dwight Morrow give Ramapo all it can handle at the Mel Henderson Classic this past weekend, and it's an opportunity for a kid like George Garrison and for Owen Roberts to step further into the...
He doesn't miss.
Yeah, he did 25 against Ramapo. Richie mentioned the kids
from... I'm having flashbacks. Oh my God!
What was the combined total of points lost to Dwight Morrow by the Ridgefield Park.
I thought this was going to be a nice night together.
It's actually a roast.
The answer to that is 63 points.
No, it's 28 opening night and 38 the other night.
You're lucky I can't do math, but that sounds like a lot.
That adds up to 63. I don't know if you guys are good at math, but
all right.
Mathematics is on the case.
Yeah, I'm a man of words, not of numbers. But, you mentioned the Tenafly kids, Johnny Angbazo, Antonio Bonilla, Ridgefield Park kids. Chris, I mean, some of your kids here, too. Chance Martinez, I know, has been playing well for you. Your big guy in the middle, Danny Lane, is starting to draw some college attention, too. So, you know what? I'm going to double down. I am right. This is the stage your kids need.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Richie mentioned Mark Danica from St. Mary. And, Demarest going in with a group of 8 seniors that take up most of the minutes on that team, too. So Jake Runyon with a chance to step out. Listen, I'm excited about the Jamboree. I wasn't when I was waiting up until nearly midnight, but tonight, as we're doing this show, I'm getting the juices flowing, and I'm ready to get over there.
Hey, listen, if we're talking players, you can't forget Jordan McCoy up at Dwight Englewood.
Yes,
a bunch of Division I schools.
Oh, no
obviously
doubt.
we know players from the top schools, but
yes.
And that kid last year he had Tyson Etienne with him, and now this year Tyson transferred, so Jordan and the kid Judah McIntyre. But Jordan McCoy, he's a special talent.
I agree with you, but they had a lot of success in the Jambo last year. I mean, he's kind of a no-name. I mean, think of, moving on to the round of 16, and we could talk about it next week, kids to watch out for, on the bigger name schools in Mahwah, Dwight Englewood, the 24-9 game. If the seeds hold, Dwight Englewood will move through, and we'll do further on that. And there's some other interesting stories, too, that I want to get to before the season is over, whether writing them, having them on the show, or just basically getting them out there, is the fact that the Dwight Englewood coaching staff now includes, Chris, our old friend and your old coaching nemesis, Gerald Akridge.
Never a nemesis. How you feel, man? He's a great guy, Gerald. I was real happy. I know he's been trying to get back into coaching for a few years, and I'm glad. And Coach Rudolph, big Mets fan, so we always chat about the Mets. It's definitely a veteran staff who's seen a lot over the years, and nice to see Coach Akridge back involved, because I know that it was something that he was really looking forward to doing over the past couple of years.
Yep, I saw him on Saturday, talked to him for a while. Good dude, one of my favorite dudes, actually. And, in his I don't remember how many years he was the head coach at Dwight Morrow High School, never got a technical. That's pretty crazy. It just shows you the class of the man there, too. I don't know. What am I? All right, we got to do this last part. And Chris, you are free to recuse yourself as a participant in the 62nd annual Oscar F. Thompson Memorial Bergen County Jamboree. But Richie B and I, and you can join in if you'd like to. Richie B and I now must make our picks. And Richie, I don't think we have to go through the entire bracket, but why don't you rattle off your quarterfinals, your semifinals, your finalists, and your champion?
All right, here we go. I have Bergen Catholic playing number 9 Dwight Englewood in the quarters. Teaneck and Ramapo, Hackensack and Kreskill, and then Dwight Morrow and Bosco. I have Bergen Catholic and Ramapo in the semifinals. I have Kreskill and Don Bosco. And then I have, which is crazy because Hackensack has the talent to win the title. I don't know. I'm torn on that. But anyway, I'll go with Kreskill, Don Bosco, and then Bergen Bosco in the final. And I'm going to go with Bosco. I think, Bergen Catholic's had one heck of a start to the season, and they're just getting going. And Zach Fremantle has emerged as one of the state's top players. But give me Marcellus Earlington and Ron Harper and that experience. Matt Erasmus. They're experienced players that have been in many big games before. They're not going to shy away from the big moment. I got Don Bosco in the final, 61-55.
Sounds like a lot of chalk in there, but I don't disagree with you too much, except until we get to the end. I have top-seeded Bergen Catholic against number 9 Dwight Englewood. I have number 5 Teaneck against number 4 Teaneck against number 5 Ramapo, Hackensack Creskill, and I have Ridgewood against Don Bosco. That's my quarterfinal round. Then I have Bergen Catholic against Ramapo. I just think Ramapo has been so close so many times in both the state sectional tournament, where they're in North 1 Group 3, where in the Jambo, where they've been matched up, a couple years ago being the number 1 seed and losing in a great game against Pascack Hills, really a classic Bergen County Jamboree quarterfinal game there too. I just feel like, and in a year where maybe not as much was expected from them because of perceived lack of scoring ability when the season started, Casey Hunt and Jason Oppler have been playing great for them all season long. So I'm going to pick Ramapo to finally get over the hump and get into the semifinals. I have Don Bosco.
You have former Bergen Catholic point guards battling each other in the Final Four, huh? Armstrong and Sandberg?
Correct. Yes, it would be fun.
We both got it.
Yeah, it'd be fun to watch them go at it nowadays too. And then also, all right. So my bottom of the bracket is Hackensack against Don Bosco, and then my final, I have Bergen Catholic against Hackensack. Hackensack took Don Bosco to overtime today as we tape this on Thursday. I am a firm believer in Hackensack's talent. I am also a firm believer in Don Bosco's talent. And basically, I'm picking this game because Don Bosco Prep won last year, and I'd like to see somebody else have a chance. And then, with all that being said, I have Bergen Catholic as my champion. So none of that will be right because I am the world's worst prognosticator, and I expect nothing but for my bracket, even in a tournament that looks like chalk all over the place, to be blown up within the first 2 rounds. So that's it. Bergen County Jamboree preview show. We are going to let the coaches who did not come on off the hook, and it actually sets up nicely for us because if they win this week, we can have them on next week. Chris Gaskin, great to have you back here on the NorthJerseySports.com airwaves.
Can I stay on as the third wheel going forward through the tournament?
Oh, listen, when you are the co-host of the Jambo preview show, that means you are the co-host of the all Jambo programming from here on forward. How's
awesome.
that sound?
I accept the offer, and as much as I love you, Corey, it's always again, I'm very happy to have our man, Mr. Ballgame Barton, with us as well, and I thoroughly enjoyed the evening, and looking forward to doing it again next week as well.
Good, Richie B. Good stuff out of you.
I appreciate that. But it would have been a lot funnier if Corey just said no.
No, because if I had just said no, I wouldn't have gotten to the part where Chris Gaskin actually live and in public said he loved me. So, and I think he said something like, "You're all right too, Richie B." Anyway, Jambo preview show. Thanks for joining us. Let the games begin, and we'll see you next week.
Follow the leader.